Well, good morning to you all. Thank you very much for being here this morning. You may be suffering some severe hangovers. Is there anyone in the audience? I don't think so. You look very sharp, all of you. Well, of course, as is with the custom, I would like to thank Marcus Evans and Laura, who is not here at the moment, but I'm going to thank her again for inviting me over to address you, professionals. Well, when I was asked to deliver a presentation, I was also provided with a topic. And Sari yesterday, who's not here today, put a smile on my face when he was complaining about the weight of the topic. Here's my topic. It's innovative comfort via sustainability, exploring sustainable design models for the hospitality industry. Wow. Sounds a bit complicated, at least it did to me. So as I'm already very much into it, I started looking at the topic and we started exchanging glances. So I said, you know what, you've been into this topic in depth, so give all the scientific data that you have and share it with everybody. And suddenly, I found myself in the realm of graphics, charts, scientific calculations of reducing the carbon footprint of a hotel and the corporate responsibility. And it got very, very complicated. So I said, hey, you're a hospitality person. You have to provide some empathy. Those people are going to be there to listen to you, not to be bored at 9 a.m., and I can guarantee you, were I to follow that course, I would put at least 30% of you back to sleep in 10 minutes straight, because I would be. So I said, okay, let's take an alternative route. So we started exchanging glances with it again. And I understood that it had no hierarchy within itself. And I asked the topic to blow up and identify itself. Then it changed, and it changed radically. Some of the components in it changed character and gained weight. Innovative became modern and heavy. Comfort, stylish a bit and laid back. Sustainability grew up. It blew out of proportion because it is, discussed in depth by all of us. Exploring is futuristic. That's interesting. And then came sustainable design. Oh my God, a textbook case. There is no certain definition of it to date. We're all discussing it still. And then hospitality industry, well, of course, it's got all that jazz. Then I dissected it and put it in order. And I allowed the topic to prioritize within itself. And in due course, while I was preparing this presentation, some of the subjects lost significance while others gained significance. And at the end of the day, I understood that we're actually exploring comfort. We're trying to find new ways to define comfort. Sustainability is the way of it. It's a tool. It's an inherent quality we have to employ in all of our designs. It's not an add-on. It's not an extra anymore. It is a given. It has to exist. It has to be there. So, exploring comfort where? Well, this is more or less where we're all living now. It is a very complicated environment indeed, be it Paris, New York, Singapore, Dubai. We're trying to explore that comfort. We're trying to redefine it for us and for the guest. But it's not very easy. It is really, really complicated. Has it always been like this? Well, not quite. Let me take you to Matera, a 7,000-year-old cave city. It has this romantic structure. It was built one on top another. It has this organic bond. And I'm sure in the little piazzas and piazzettas and between the streets, it's got many memories and stories to tell. They had their hard times, though. back in the 1910s, 20s, 30s, they had a lot of scarcity of resource. And were you to stop a person on the street to ask what they were eating back then, the response would be most likely not much, because they didn't have anything to eat. But out of the scarcity emanated a mindset. Today it's called cucina povera, frugal cooking, or cooking for the poor. As they had less and less resource, they found ways to comfort themselves and make the best use of what they had. This recipe, orecchiette con ricotta fresca, is a very good example of it. It carries all the essence of cucina povera. You have 3 ingredients, plus salt and pepper, and actually it can be prepared by anybody, or somebody who has never laid hands on a cooking pot or frying pan, even. It's so simple, as you can see. But you can add the nuance, and you can just change the presentation of it. So the comfort that you're seeking is conveyed in a way, making the best use of what you already have. It is really creative, and it's difficult to be creative when you don't have many resources, actually. Well, it can get complicated. It can get complex. Like the road, the path on the left was prepared by nature. It looks simple, but it has a very intricate balance in it. It's very difficult to strike that balance as human beings. We can simplify. We're very well at simplifying, actually. This road on the right was human-made. It defines the path. It shows you the way. And even the plants and the trees are evenly distributed. It's very well human-made. Fine. We can play with nature, and it's easy to do it in a simple way, but sometimes we have our impact, heavy impact on the nature. Take these 2 stone quarries that are not used anymore. They are disused, vacant stone quarries in China. Both were competition schemes for hotels, and you can see the difference, different takes. The one on the left has a very sophisticated technological infrastructure to it. It's very complicated. While the one on the right, which is an InterContinental, indeed, Shin Mao, chose to adapt to the environment. It's a more simplified way of providing the comfort that we're seeking. But there are many terms that we need to discuss comfort by. So I would like to take you to comfort in motion. Ever since we invented the wheel, we try to carry stuff from point A to point B. Well, back in the day, we were always using animals to help. So be it a 4-wheeled or 3-wheeled or a 2-wheeled vehicle, there was a power source. But then somebody got excited about going it alone without depending on any kind of extra power. So they invented bicycles. In time, we invented chains, sprockets. So we convey the motion that we're achieving by pushing the pedals to the back wheel that's pushing us forward, and the front one is steering us with some additional equipment to slow down or to stop. So it's very facilitating. Fine. Then what happened? We got confused again. We want to innovate. We're restless people, all of us. Today, we're talking about bicycling in these terms. There is no chain? Wow. Simplify. Great. Is it really so? It's got a very complex infrastructure into it now. Without the support you have in the back, now you have a console that you have to calculate the balance of the rider up front, and God knows how you slow it or stop it. So the dandy horse, back in the day, is morphing into something like this today. Is it getting simplified? I doubt it. But it's innovation. We need this. We feed by innovation. Then somebody else came up, said, you know what, you're getting tired pushing the pedals. Why don't we put an engine into this? And I'm so very thankful to that person. He invented motorcycles. I'm an avid rider myself. And in time, motorcycles morphed too. So we had styles. We had superbikes, we had naked street bikes, we had laid-back cruisers. But then it was the Italians again. I'm telling you, these are restless people. Where's Gianluca? They're restless. They have to innovate. But they also have the mindset of providing the best use of what you have in your hand. So they took the main lines of a superbike, of a naked bike, and a cruiser, and combined them to achieve the ultimate perfect vehicle. And such Ducati Diavolo was born. Is that perfect? Not quite yet. Somebody raised their hand and said, hey, you're forgetting about my passenger in the back. What about the comfort? I want the seat, I want bags, I don't want to carry a backpack, and I want this windshield. So, what is thought to be perfect is still not perfect. It's still improving. It's morphing. Let's go to a simple sample, not a motorcycle, which is a very sophisticated piece of work. Snowboards, just a plain plank of wood that you use for leisure, but you're not comfortable on it, not all of the time, at least not me. And for many people, the same principle applies. It's very difficult to snowboard. What do? We invent interfaces to provide that comfort. So you can give this person the opportunity to enjoy it in the way that he or she likes. Clever way of achieving comfort in motion is providing interfaces. Let's get to the very simple interface that we all have. Shoes. Comfort in motion, wow, technological sophistication. Okay, we've got this padding, support, a contouring structure, and a stabilizing cradle. This is all for the comfort in motion. Okay, what's wrong with the lady? She doesn't have any of it at all. Is she uncomfortable? Of course not. She is comfortable. What are we missing here? Cool factor? Perhaps. Style? Perhaps. Well, comfort is a very individual concept. All of these people in this picture, they're all comfortable. Be it on a nail bed on nails, on a horse, waiting for a soccer game, having secured seats, or I don't want to talk about this guy. He's already enjoying the very basic concept of comfort that we're all used to. So it's a very individual concept. I wonder how many of you can remember the first feeling of comfort. I hope not many, because that would be scary, because it dates real way back to the womb. As a guest, as we all were then, from check-in to check-out, we were taken well care of. Stabilized temperature, a protective environment, being fed on time, all the time, and even upside down, we were in a way comfortable. Can the body remember this? Yes, it has the inherent quality. In the absence of gravity, all the astronauts in the outer space can still sleep upside down. So it's not only the guest, but also the housing around the guest that we need to think about the efficiency and the comfort of. We're still innovating to provide that comfort. That feeling of suspension in space has made its way into the hospitality industry fairly fast, and it's being innovated still. And you can actually use high technology to take it to a treetop in a high-tech way or a simple, naive way or in its simplest form. Well, you may say, hey, that's too much. Let's talk about the basic comfort elements that we have in our hotels. Beds, are they basic? They're not basic anymore. We're still morphing them. We're providing them with technological sophistication that's going to give us that comfort in differentiating geometries to serve different purposes. I remember back 7, 8 years ago, I was asked by a furniture company to come up with a customizable piece of furniture that can adapt to the user. So I studied all the ergonomics and everything. And, well, it got realized to a certain extent, and some other designer was fortunate to do this. It got realized. Fine. We can push it even further. We can customize it. It can take care of us. But you know what? So it's an individual, customizable concept, this comfort is. But we're getting confused again. It's getting complicated again. Where is Cucina Povera? Can't we have a more substantial base on which we can discuss this? Isn't there a better, or not better, but simpler way of doing it? Can't we make the best use of what we already have? We can. Gravity is going to take care of it with a simple net, as you can see. This is not everybody's cup of coffee, but it's still possible. Here's your seat, and here's your big bed, or not only for you, but for 10 others. I don't know what you want to do, but I don't care. It is freedom that we're seeking after. Get back to beds. What is the simple intervention we can have? We all have this dead arm syndrome, don't we? Hugging our significant other. Well, it's been dealt with. No worries. They simply sliced the bed. What is the next step? Are you going to dice it too? Perhaps. Maybe somebody is busy with this as we speak here. Fine. But we're talking about achieving comfort in a multitasking mindset indeed. So we have, in the ever-growing scarcity of space in urban areas, we have pieces of furniture that serve multiple purposes, as you can see. It may be an artwork in the space, dormant during the day. It can become your easy chair. Or it can become a table for two, all the while when it can also be a seat. So we're talking about designs that tend to deliver more than they were designed for. What a great coincidence that we're all in Switzerland at the moment, because this is a great example of multitasking and carrying that comfort to wherever you're going. Carrying the comfort. Comfort is an individual, customizable, mobile concept today. And carrying information with it, well, let's get into that. That's really serious because information is of the essence today. We have various ways of carrying it with us and conveying it as well. It was not easy at the beginning. Let's remember those days. We owe it that much. You know, it was not easy. But then this was there for us. Today they're mostly serving as paperweights and doorstops because in time they morphed, they shrank, they lost components, their screens grew up out of proportion, and we were ever trying to use them in comfort. These were all serious. So, the disrespectful grandchild today has made its way into our pockets. I can guarantee you at least 99% of everybody in this room has a form of this device, very nearby. They're all over us. And now their siblings are going to be removing the notion of notebooks and pencils from our lives. They have already done that. And they made their way into the furniture industry to serve as tables or displays. So there's a versatility of use. What is this all meant for? Carrying our information with us and comfort. It's being mobile. And the technology made its way into our industry fairly fast. We are now checking in, booking, accessing our private parameters by them. There are even special softwares and systems that can actually customize your environment. They can find which flat is for hire under the same system together with which restaurant and laundry. So in some places, you don't even really need to go to a hotel. You can enjoy that environment, live in that realm, experience the culture, just living right in it. And that's not the last stop. It's still evolving, as you can see. We're trying to be ever more efficient on mobility. Google has come up with this. So it's a computer, it's a camera, it's a telephone all together on the run. And now, hey, you don't need to occupy a hand. You're all free. So the comfort of being off-grid, actually, is there. But when you Google the term, you can come up with this image that, to me, explains the opposite, because there are a lot of anchors that you need, a lot of technology to be off-grid. Today, we have this complex structure to use. Back in the day, Hassan Fatih, the Egyptian architect, didn't have any of this. How did he achieve that comfort? He used what he had. He had learned from his ancestors that the Shukshayka, the wind towers, can capture the cool winds, and he can distribute it in the space to achieve comfort. But today we have a separate component to it. We need energy. We need more energy. And we, if you get back to this, we need to connect. How do we come off-grid, truly? You can carry this device in your purse today. It's got a photovoltaic structure with a suction pad. You just put it on a window, plug it in, turn it around, and you know what? You have your energy. So, one stone, two birds. You have your mobile freedom and your information that you're carrying all over the place. You are comfortable. You have the freedom of choice. We're talking about the individual now. Let's get into the spatial structure of it. How do you carry your surrounding? Well, I could use one of these back in my days in Kazakhstan when I was trekking for God knows why. When I got caught in a hailstorm in the middle of July, up there on 3,000 meters high altitude. It provides refuge or a living space, a working space. So the modulation is gaining speed today. And we're ever keen to make it as complicated as can be again. These modules can be connected to serve as a hotel. They can float. They can serve as a hospital, spa. It's multitasking. Very sophisticated. Let's get back to the frugality of it. How can we make a better use of what we already have? This is a good idea. You can convert the cars of a train. You can check in a hotel and in your room in London, get off in Paris, and do whatever you want to do, because this structure is going to keep your room for you. Get back to London and check out in the same room. No hassle. Or you can implement this mentality in very busy places like airports or railway stations, which you're already seeing them now. You can just check in with your credit card, with that special software on your handheld device. And there are modules with toilets as well. Somebody in the Netherlands took it one step further. This is Citizen M, a 14 square meter room. These are all prefabricated modules brought together at site to form a hotel. And you know what? You're provided with a special tablet by which you can customize and control all in the room. Next step is a downloadable application that's going to turn your very own handheld device into this. One step ahead. Carry it far. These modules are made in a factory, carried to site by a helicopter, put there, and they use a very similar technology as you were carrying in your purse, if you remember, a few slides back, to provide the energy. Welcome to Hotel Elbrus. This is a hotel in operation at the moment. This is remote. It's mobile. What's happening in the cities? How can we make a better use of what we have by the same mentality? Easy. It's conversions. Take this 18th century beautiful Gothic building in Melbourne. It's a modern environment inside. It's got all the connotations with the history. And the guys are even harvesting honey, I think over 30 kilos per annum on the 5th floor terrace. Innovation, ongoing. You can't stop it. It took place in the XW Hotel in Sydney, which is now Blue by Taj. It's in the Woolloomooloo Wharf. And still you can breathe that air. You can experience that local culture. And they don't change it, actually. The building is still there. What has changed is the function. Or take a chateau in Belgium, Liège, convert it into a very sophisticated hotel with all the amenities of today. What's going on? Let's wrap it up. For a recap, you may be living in Montreux, or in a rat race city like Singapore, and you are seeking comfort, not only for yourself, but also to be able to provide to your guests. But you know what? That comfort is already with you. You're carrying it. It's the mindset. You can carry it to a mountaintop, to a treetop, to the top of a chateau, or right into the hustle and bustle of a very busy airport. That's what the master architect Frank Lloyd Wright. He had many assessments, and this one actually has a hidden message inside that sums it all up for me. Can you see it? Let me help you. Strive continually to simplify. Then comfort and utility may go hand in hand with beauty. Thanks, Frank. It sounds easy, but as you've seen, it can get fairly complex and fairly fast. So don't fret. Take a step back. Eliminate all the extras. Put all you have together in a most frugal fashion. Cook it. And serve it to the guest with that historical content via which they can enjoy where they are. They can experience the locale. Allow them to plug into your systems to an extent that you can control, of course. But let them achieve that level of comfort by customizing what you're offering them so that they feel like home in a way. And you have all kinds of energy you need lying there waiting for you to use it. Be wise. Do your waste control. Provide that innovation of energy. And after all, be brave. Shake and shuffle all those design guides that you have or we're providing to you. Challenge them. Change them with a mindset that's going to serve for the better. Innovation via sustainability, it's a long journey. We all know that. But we have to be on the move. We have to have a paradigm shift, a different mindset to achieve what has to be achieved. It's a long road, but you know what? You have to move on. So keep moving, or better yet, keep riding. Thank you.